Welcome back. As Democrats move ahead with the impeachment inquiry and the White House continues to stonewall, even some Republicans are getting a little uneasy, and that's becoming a headache for Senate Leader Mitch McConnell. Trump reportedly calling McConnell up to 3 times a day, telling him he has to get his folks in line. Our own Dominic, he caught up with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand today, and the New York Democrat was not holding back, Dom.
She was not, Richard. The senator had some strong words for the president, and she also hammered her Republican colleagues in the Senate.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
It was a town hall meeting on issues impacting senior citizens, but the impeachment investigation is looming larger by the day. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand says Congress must do 2 things at the same time: work on bipartisan legislation supported by the American people while investigating the president. Senator, what do you make of the president's behavior as of late? The White House has announced they won't cooperate with the investigation. Is that troubling to you?
It's very troubling, and I really believe what he's doing is more obstruction of justice. The Constitution provides for these proceedings to happen through the House and Senate, and for him to obstruct that and to not participate, he's again breaking the rules and maybe breaking laws. And so we need to investigate that, and we need transparency.
Most Republicans up to now have defended Trump's actions. Joe Biden has called for President Trump's impeachment. But should it come to that, Senator, you still need 20 GOP senators. Will Republicans dump Trump? What does it take for the party, the Republican Party, to dump Trump?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I've not seen much of a backbone by the Republican Party since Trump was elected. Only few moments where Republicans stood up and did the right thing.
Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are remaining cautious in their public comments since they may be forced to decide the president's fate.
My job in the Senate is to allow the House to do their job of doing the full investigation. They need to sort out the facts, let us know what happened with this call with regard to what happened in Ukraine, what happened with regard to other members of his cabinet, other members of his administration, whether in fact there was a quid pro quo. But frankly, for an American president to ask a foreign leader to investigate a political opponent, that's illegal.
Now, along with Dominic, we bring in senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman. Listen, there's a lot of arguments about what the Democrats should and shouldn't do, but at the end of the day, they got the votes in the House. In the Senate, as you said, Dom, they need 20 votes. I thought it was interesting that when I first saw that Trump was calling McConnell up to 3 times a day, I figured he was doing everything in his power to try and be like, hey, stay with me, Mitch, here, whatever. By all accounts, he's threatening to get his membership in order and get him in line here, or he'll turn on him like a bad dime. I can see a way, and if you go back to lessons of Watergate, that I could see 20 Republican senators saying, especially if there's some more revelations, as many expect, enough.
I mean, if the revelations come out and there's just simply no way for those Republicans to oppose it, sure. The other possibility is that Trump's maneuver here backfires on him and that Republicans realize, hey, you know what, this criticism from Trump isn't hurting me back home. I'm actually getting some kudos for standing up to him. And then all bets are off.
Yeah, and I think the polling, I've heard some magic numbers, Dom. Fox News, their poll, even though Trump said their pollsters suck, that was his exact presidential response today, of course, on Twitter. They have him at 51% want him impeached and tossed, and only 40% say no. I think if that number gets to 60 or thereabouts, I think that's a trigger for a lot of folks. I thought it has been instructive. We've talked about Syria quite a bit this hour. How many Republicans felt emboldened to go right after him, abandonment and worse, disgraceful, etc., that kind of language. I know it's Syria. I know they haven't said that about impeachment, but still, I'm getting signs that Republicans say, I don't want to lose my job because of him next year.
Absolutely. As the number goes up, Fox poll, news poll, as you pointed out, the president could be in trouble, and perhaps that's why we're seeing a sign of desperation with him reaching out to McConnell several times a day.
Well, there is a name, a national figure, certainly known to New Yorkers, but one of the major powers in the House of Representatives, and has been for a long time, Nita Lowey. She chairs the Appropriations Committee, one of the most important gigs there is in the House, and she just announced that she will not be running for re-election. She said, after 31 years, I've decided not to seek re-election in 2020. I'm honored that my colleagues in Congress elected me as the first chairwoman of the Appropriation Dems who will fight vigorously for the House Democratic priorities as they negotiate spending bills. We know her quite well, Andrew. She takes and took pride in being what's called a cardinal, being one of the power players. And she gave no indication before today that this was in the offing, that age was, hey, listen, she was on this set less than a week ago. I know you spoke to her recently as well. I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. We talked on Monday for an interview that's going to air this weekend on FiOS 1 Lower Hudson Valley, but no indication from her that she was considering retiring. It's interesting that we're talking about her the same day that Gillibrand we're talking about her, because that's the Senate seat that Lowey decided not to run for in 2000.
And for people who don't know, when Hillary said that basically she was going to become the Secretary of State, that created an opening. It was almost fait accompli that Hillary got to pick a successor. Nita said thanks, but no thanks when offered because of that power position in the House. Already, there's a fascinating name, Don, that's being thrown out there. Speaking of Clinton, Chelsea Clinton. No official word yet whatsoever if she's even going to be a candidate. I'm not so sure the decks would be cleared as much as some people think they would for a Clinton in Westchester. Maybe they would, but it's a solidly blue district, but it would be a national race if she got in.
Well, it would certainly be one of national proportions, but keep in mind, Richard, remember when an upstart, well, she had served as First Lady, when she decided to run Hillary Clinton for Moynihan's seat when he was stepping down, and the path sort of cleared for her.
Don't remind me of those listening tours.
That's right, the listening tours upstate. So if Chelsea Clinton announces, and I have a funny feeling she will, I believe at the end of the day, maybe not the beginning, but at the end of the day, the path will clear for her.
All right. The guys, stay with me. When we come back, he went from America's mayor to President Trump's apologist. We'll take a look at Rudy's stunning fall from grace.